Good afternoon and welcome to part 4 of the Jodel D112 starter alternator modification 13484. In the first section of part 4 I'd like to respond to some of the issues that have been raised with me by interested parties, people who are enthusiastic about this modification. My modification on the Jodel D112 is actually on a C65 horsepower Continental engine, and the parts and the design that I've done for a modification would be ideal for somebody who's got an exactly similar engine. But what I have discovered is there are a number of variable crankcase configurations, and the A65 crankcase configuration is somewhat different, and also the prop attachment to the crankshaft on some of the 65 horsepower engines is different. Mine goes onto a spigot on the output flange of the crankshaft, whereas some propellers have a taper lock type fitting. So I'm going to address the A65 and C65 with a spigot on the end of the crankshaft, and I'm happy to look at variations in the design that will be required for the A65, but the parts that I will be able to get to my drawings relate to the C65. In a later section of part 4 I shall be looking at the battery tray, how this has been produced and how it is installed and fixed back to the firewall, along with the regulator and the starter isolating solenoid. And I'm also going to be looking at the way the stainless steel mounting plate is bracketed to the obsolete fuel pump pad, which can be found at the lower left hand side of the crankcase when looking at it from the propeller. In the last section of part 4 I shall be looking at how I determine the right ring gear size to give the correct clearance, and how I tackle this problem. This technique proved beneficial because my first guess at the size of the ring gear was in fact a ring gear which was too small, and by checking with plywood templates I was able to determine more accurately the correct size of the ring gear. Just to recap, removal of the engine in order to conduct this modification is not a requirement. The only item that's required really to be removed is the propeller, and this is then replaced later with longer than standard propeller bolts. You will, however, be required to use an angle drilling attachment to drill through the battery tray and the firewall in order to fix it. I got mine from Toolstation, it cost about £10, and also I had to cut the drills by shortening them back using an angle grinder in order to get them in adjacent to the magnetos. Moving on now then to the design and installation of the battery tray. This shows the specially designed battery tray which has been designed and fits
shows the method of attaching the battery tray back to the firewall, and the same technique is used for the regulator
to give
and the starter isolator solenoid switch. In this view you can see the self-tapping screw that is securing the top of the battery tray. There are two of these, and these assist in making it secure. Here is a view of the battery tray from the other side of the machine, and you can see that the hexagon headed bolts can't be put in right at the top because of the danger of penetrating the fuel tank if you should break through the inner firewall plywood. The battery restraining strap and the anchor screw can clearly be seen in this picture. This picture shows the crankshaft output flange to the prop, the crankcase register for the stainless steel mounting plate, and the 4 tapped holes that retain that plate to the crankcase. You can see here the plywood template that I made for the stainless steel mounting plate to try it in position on the engine register. Shows the redundant fuel pump mounting pad on the C65, which I drilled and tapped to take studs to secure the stainless steel rear support plate for the stainless steel mounting plate. The remaining 3 views show how the plywood templates were used to determine the size of the ring gear that was required. That was the development that I spoke about earlier, and this now concludes part 4 of the series of videos.